Welcome back, everybody, to 31 2000s horror movies for Halloween, where I'm counting down my favorite horror movies from 2000 to 2009. So, at the number 24 spot, we're going back to Asian horror, with an anthology movie, and I think this is one of the best anthology horror movies ever made, and that is Three Extremes. So, like I said, Three Extremes, it's an Asian horror movie, and it's an anthology movie. And what I love about this is it's an anthology movie with 3 segments, and each segment is from a different country in Asia. You have one movie directed by Fruit Chan, which is, I believe, Hong Kong. Then you have a segment directed by Park Chang-wook, the director of Oldboy, the South Korean segment, and then the final segment is directed by Takashi Miike from Japan. So yeah, you get a little taste of China, you get a little taste of South Korea, you get a little taste of Japan, and what I love about Three Extremes is that each movie is scary in a different way. It approaches horror from each segment approaches horror from a different direction. But I'll get into that in a minute. So we have 3 stories here. The first story, the Chinese one, is called Dumplings, and it's about this woman who is starting to get older and she wants to remain young, she wants to keep her beauty, so she finds this strange woman who makes these dumplings that she says can restore your youth. And we find out what the ingredient is of the dumplings, and I won't spoil that here, but you know it's going to be fucked up. The second story is by Park Chang-wook, one of my favorite directors. Park Chang-wook directed my favorite movie of all time, which is Oldboy. So yeah, this is the South Korean segment, and since it's by Park Chang-wook, you know I'm gonna love it. Like I said, Oldboy, my favorite movie of all time, I absolutely love it. And the third segment is my favorite segment of it, of this movie. So we have this director who comes home and he meets this weird guy who has tied up his wife. And he's demanding the director, he finds it infuriating that the director is a good person, and he wants the director to do something horrible, or else he's going to hurt his wife in some way, and I'll get into more of that in a minute. And then we have the third segment by Takashi Miike, one of my favorite Japanese directors. He directed Audition, which is absolutely fantastic. This segment follows this woman who, when she was a kid, she had a twin sister, and they were contortionist twins in this circus. Yeah, it gets really creepy and wrong in certain places. Trigger warning for this one. The memory of her sister haunts her, and there's this box that keeps coming into play in this movie, and you'll find out when you watch the movie where things go. I don't want to spoil too much, but I'll go into more details, but just heads up, trigger warning for the whole damn movie. All the triggers for Three Extremes. But what I appreciate the most about this movie is, like I said, each segment approaches a different aspect of horror. The first segment, Dumplings, is the disturbing segment. It's the disturbing, gross-out segment that just gives you that feeling in the pit of your stomach. The second segment, Cut, is the suspenseful segment. It builds tension throughout the whole movie. And then the third segment by Takashi Miike is the creepy segment. It's the one where it focuses more on giving you that creepy atmosphere for a horror movie. So you have 3 segments that approach 3 different angles of horror, and I appreciate that. It gives you a good mix. My favorite segment is the middle segment, the Cut segment, because I love the suspense of the whole thing. And so, like I said, it does get intense. There's I won't spoil too much, but I will spoil this aspect. The director is being held hostage by this guy who was an extra in one of his films, and is infuriated by the fact that this rich man is also a good person. So he wants to have this guy do something terrible. I won't say what he wants him to do, but he has to do something terrible or he's going to hurt his wife.
나 잡아. 야! 이 개새끼야. 내가 안 되고 그랬잖아. 안 되니까. 좀만 기다려주시겠어.
What he does is he's glued his wife's fingers to a piano, and after an amount of time passes, he cuts off a finger. And I think it's like every 5 minutes or so, he'll cut off another finger until the director does something. I won't tell you what he wants the director to do, but let's just say it's bad. But it's a very suspenseful segment, and it builds tension throughout the whole segment, and it's so well done. Dumplings is good in that disturbing aspect. I don't want to spoil too much here. You probably know where it's going, but I don't want to spoil it here, but let's just say it is that movie that is disturbing and gives you that disturbing feeling in your guts, so that's a good one. And again, trigger warning. Then you have Box, which is the third segment by Takashi Miike, and it deals with some very taboo subject matter. So, the main character has a sister who died when they were kids, and when they were kids, they were contortionists in a circus. Now, the man who ran the circus was a pedophile. He was a pedophile who had an attraction towards the main character's twin sister. They don't show anything that goes on here. Everything is suggested, but you know. Yeah, it's pretty obvious that this guy's a pervert. Now, the interesting angle is that it's interesting but fucked up at the same time. When they were kids, the main character is jealous of her sister for getting all the guy's attention. And it's a shame because, yeah, the guy's a bad guy, but these are kids. They don't really know any better, and it's weird. It's disturbing, but handling it in an interesting way. It makes it very clear that the guy is a bad guy, and you feel bad for the two girls because they turn against each other because they're looking for the attention from a horrible person.
大丈夫。大丈夫だよ、翔子。
That's all I want to say about the segment. I don't want to go any further because I don't want to spoil these segments because they all go into great, creepy directions. But I just want to mention that because, like, the trigger warning for the whole anthology, but the third segment especially goes into some taboo territory, and so just be ready for that. It doesn't show anything, it doesn't get graphic in that regards, but you, like I said, you know what's going on. But it is a great movie. It's a great anthology. It's one of my favorite anthologies. It's 3 extremes, and these movies are extreme, but it's so well done. I highly recommend, anthologies are good to watch around Halloween, and I think 3 Extremes is a horror movie anthology to check out around Halloween. Just be ready for some dark subject matter, but it is a very, very good anthology.